All right. Well, welcome back to Reviews by Hunter. You know who I am. So today I got Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Episode 3, titled About the Culling Game. I'll be honest with you guys. I felt like a college student taking notes for a test watching this episode. I did take some notes on this one, and I am still admittedly a little bit confused on all of the details within this episode, but let's get into it. So, about the Culling game. So, we get introduced to Tengen in this episode. Last video, I said I wasn't completely sure, like I didn't completely remember Tengen's significance. In this episode, it stated that Tengen is the world itself. Now, again, what that means necessarily in terms of like, is he a godlike entity? I don't know. It seems that the well-being of Tengen is tied to the well-being of the world. And because Tengen failed to assimilate with the star plasma vessel 12 years prior, although Tengen is immortal, they are actually aging, and their aging has been sped up. And because of this, if Tengen involves past like mankind, it will transform mankind into something. Either it will transform them, I guess, into sorcerers, or it will transform them into just something other than human, which wouldn't be good. That's my understanding of it. But I've watched this episode twice now. Once in the subtitle version, once in the dub. I will say Tengen's voice in the dub sounded a lot different than I thought it was going to sound. Tengen's voice sounds more feminine in the dub version. I don't know if Tengen is like a guy, a woman, or just a being. But I think they're just a being. Anyway, Tengen does require 2 bodyguards to stay behind in exchange for information on Kenjaku and the Culling game. In the end, Choso and Yuki decide to stay behind, so they will be the 2 protectors for Tengen while everyone else goes and kind of, they're moving on to their next mission, their next task, which I'll get to. So it turns out Kenjaku's objective, and I don't remember if this was stated before, but we now know it is to force the evolution of mankind for the entirety of Japan and turn them all into sorcerers. Again, that is my understanding of it. But even if that's true, I don't know why he wants to turn everybody into sorcerers. Kenjaku's ultimate goal, I think, is maybe I need to go back and do a little bit more digging into that, because I don't understand why he would want to turn everybody into sorcerers, because to me that would just leave more sorcerers to stand up to Kenjaku, so that doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, he wants to assimilate all of mankind, which typically wouldn't be possible. It usually would only be possible to assimilate with Tengen if you were the star plasma vessel. However, the star plasma vessel failed assimilation with Tengen 12 years ago. And like I said, the star plasma vessel essentially stabilizes Tengen, keeps Tengen from evolving mankind and losing their sense of self. So again, maybe it's not that it turns them into sorcerers, but it turns them into a version of themselves that has lost their humanity, I suppose. Maybe it would be like a monster-like, I'm not sure. It is also stated in this episode that Kenjaku used to be a sorcerer called Noritoshi Kamo, and he's been a sorcerer for at least 1,000 years. Similar to like Sukuna, who I wonder if Sukuna's been around for 1,000 years, or maybe just even longer than that. I don't know if that's ever stated in the anime, but I digress. Tengen explains that the Culling game is something like a ritual where I guess they are trying to force people to die. I guess in having all of these deaths take place, like all of the cursed energy helps with Kenjaku's plan. Again, this was a very information heavy episode, and I don't even understand all of it. One of the more confusing rule explanations I've seen in a while. But I guess you could just really consider the Culling game as a death game. It is going to be a game in which it is the sorcerers fight to the death, with a lot of rules added to it. Some of the rules, such as killing Kenjaku, will not end the game because Kenjaku is not the game master. Another rule is the game stops if everyone dies. or if everyone chooses not to participate, then they die. I don't know if that was a specific rule, but that will happen if the game will end if everyone dies. The reason that our main cast wants to join this death game, the Culling game, is because they are trying to, I mean, it's partly to save Megumi's sister, right? Another one of their objectives is to free Satoru Gojo from the prison realm. And I mean, the only way to do that really would be to take down Kenjaku, presumably, or force him to let Gojo out, which I'm sure obviously would be, I mean, that's not going to happen. So regardless, Tengen also tells us that part of freeing Gojo requires the back of the prison realm, which he or they take out and show, which is, it looks like this black and like reddish just cube. And I guess that is the back of the prison realm. But in order to break it, they need either the inverted spear of heaven, which forces cancellation of curse techniques, or the black rope. They have neither because Gojo either sealed or destroyed the spear, and he also destroyed the black rope as well. So Tengen then goes on to explain that there is a sorcerer from 1,000 years ago who goes by the name Angel, whose curse technique can extinguish any other curse technique. In other words, this sorcerer Angel could be a very powerful ally to recruit in order to aid in freeing Satoru Gojo. Now, they have 10 days and 15 hours before Tsumuki is forced to play. Players also are separated into different colonies within the death game, the Culling game, I believe, but they are free to leave those colonies without the penalty of death. I guess I didn't really understand the significance of this rule other than I guess they were trying to explain it as, oh, it gives the players their first goal or gives them a sense of free will, I suppose. That's how I kind of took it. Another thing is that players can add rules for 100 points, but are unable to eliminate pre-existing rules. So any of the rules that already exist, you can't say, hey, this rule no longer exists, meaning it's going to be more complicated to free Tsumuki from the Culling game. Another thing is the game master has the power to deny the potential new rule. So if you wanted to add a new rule of whatever the heck, I don't know, sorcerers can now only fight with one arm tied behind their back, the game master could say, nope, I don't like that rule. Tengen does try to say that the game master would be pretty fair about them adding new rules, since the game already heavily favors Kenjaku. Also, another important rule that I wrote down here is that players will be stripped of their technique if they do not show a change of points within 19 days, which I believe is to incentivize more death. And I do believe that the way you earn points is through executing or killing, unaliving other sorcerers. I'm pretty sure that's how you earn points. Maki decides that she needs to go visit the Zenin clan to acquire something called Juzo Kamiya's Atelier. I do not know what that is. I'm assuming it is a type of weapon because she was talking about how Megumi is officially now the head of the Zenin clan. Naoya wanted to become the head of the Zenin clan, but through all of these predetermined, I guess, not bonds, but things that were predetermined, Megumi is the head of the Zenin clan, technically. So Maki is going to go visit the Zenin clan, which we know kind of hates Maki. So that should be interesting. Next, we had Yuta saying, Maki wants Megumi and Yuji to go and recruit that suspended third year Kenji Hikari. Now, I won't spoil anything regarding Hikari. Some of us have probably already been spoiled from like TikTok and stuff. Some of you might already kind of know the gist of Hikari. But I won't say anything further other than they want to recruit him. Maki says it's all hands on deck. We need everyone. Pretty much doesn't matter that he's suspended. Go and recruit him. Yuta even says that when he gets into it, Hikari is stronger than him, which is saying something because we've seen just how strong Akatsu Yuta is himself, right? So that's another very powerful ally for them to recruit. And being a third year, of course, he's already strong, but to be stronger than Yuta when he gets going is pretty insane. We did have a comedic moment of of Yuji thanking Choso for all his help, and Choso begins crying because, his sweet little brother. And Yuki was like, "Are you crying?" And he was just like, "Shh, shh." I love Choso more and more every episode, dude. I really do. The episode ends with a character named Takaba, who seems to be this bad 35-year-old comedian who I guess makes the audience feel depressed rather than laugh. He gets reprimanded by what seems like his boss, and a coworker tells him that there's two types of funny people that stay big: comedians who always stay funny, and those who are delusional enough to think that they are. We then get a graphic that pops up that says Culling game player Fumihiko Taba. Guys, this episode was a lot to take in. I don't even understand all of the rules and everything that pertains to the Culling game. I just understand it as a death game, and they're trying to save Megami's sister. And now our main cast kind of has their next tasks. Maki's going to go visit the Zenin clan to acquire, I'm guessing a cursed tool, and then Yuji and Megami are going to go recruit Hikari, and I think Yuta is just going to go start his time in the Culling game, if I'm not mistaken. Before I looked up IMDb's rating, I gave this episode a 7.5 out of 10. On IMDb, it says that it's been between a 7.7 and a 7.9. Makes sense. This has been the least action-packed episode by far, and it was a huge information dump. We didn't really see anything crazy animation-wise. It was just a solid, hey guys, this is what's going on to advance the plot further. And that's really all I have for you. What did you guys think of all about the Culling game, or about the Culling game? I thought it was a fine episode. It was just a lot to take in. I think next episode will be a lot more jam-packed with action. But thanks for watching, guys. Oh, and I always forget to say, if you're so kind, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to engage with people, and share the video. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.